Back to Smok'n Jay's Garage. Today we're going to tell you how remove and install my cover, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it that I have found. I've tried different things, and I'm going to actually show you with the cover on. We're going to take it off first, and then we'll put it on. So the very first time you put it on, it's going to come in the box. You're going to have to unfold it. You're going to have to figure out the front. It's probably going to say Yamaha on the front. If you have a tower, there's a few things you'll be able to skip, but I'll show you that as soon as we get to that. So the first thing you need to do, it's going to be a little bit backwards because you've already put it on for the first time, okay? Now when you take it off this way, you're going to be able to put it right back on. I don't have a garage that is tall enough to fit my boat, so my cover comes on and off every time I use it, so I had to find a lot easier way to do it quickly. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to release our ratchet here. Obviously we have one on the other side. If you have an older boat without a tower, or even an older boat with a tower, this is going to be in the back rather than on the sides. On the newer ones, they are on the sides. If you do not have a tower, then you will be able to skip this step. But if you do have a tower, you're just going to unvelcro this right here. And then on both sides, you're going to have a clip underneath here. You're going to pop that off. And then I'm going to go around, do the exact same thing to the other side. So I already did that side. I take this and I just kind of flip it over there. And then we grab the back and I'll flip it up once. That gives me a spot to jump up here, take my shoes off, stuff like that. Now I fold these two in just like this. If you don't have a tower, you can skip that step and you can just fold it up. So I give myself about this much room. That's about 2 feet or so. And I just keep folding it up like this. As we get a little farther up, you may have to come over on each side and make sure that it stays folded over. And then we're just gonna fold it up all the way to the windshield. Once I'm over the windshield, I give it one kind of toss, and then I'm gonna crawl underneath and catch it from that side. Now once I get here, I like to pull it taut so that I don't get it all bunched up. I give it a flip, make sure my ends are flipped over here, and I'm going to give it one more flip to go right on the front of the boat. And I'm going to grab my edges. You got a cleat right over here, so make sure that you get off of that cleat. I'm going to flip up my edge over here, make sure I'm off my cleat. I'm going to flip up my edge over here. Now this is going to sit just like this. Normally I would have my truck hooked up. I could go and I could stand inside of the tailgate or on top of the tailgate, and I would just grab the end right here, lift that end off, and I'm going to grab the whole thing. I'm going to put the poles on it first, but I'm going to grab the whole thing like this, and I'm just going to set it in the back of my truck, and then when I'm ready to put it back on, the exact same thing. I know I've got my nose right here. I grab it, and I set it right back on top of here. Now, I'm not going to take off the poles to show you because I think you guys already know how these go on. If you don't, remember white goes in the front, black to the back, okay? We're going to hook those on. Some people use a noodle or something here just to give yourself not quite so much like a rounder edge, right, over the top of your windshield. I do that. You can do that as well. And I will show you how to put it right back on. Now all of our poles we set on here. This is where we would have just lifted this off. Now I'm standing on my tongue. Typically I would be standing on my tailgate because my truck was right over here. I'm gonna grab this. I'll do it from this side so you can actually see me, right? I'm gonna grab this from my truck. I'm gonna grab it. I'm just gonna set it right on here. It's gonna look just like this. I'm gonna grab my front. I'm gonna kind of tuck it down a little bit. I know this seam here is right centered, so I'm just gonna grab it like that, set it up, and then I head into the boat. We're setting up our poles, remember, black to the back. So the white one should be in the front. And we're just going to set these up. This is what your poles should look like, roughly, once they're in. This is another reason I mentioned I like this sea deck on the back here. Now my straps are riding across this sea deck and they're not potentially scuffing the side of my boat. This is what we're going to look like. We head back to the front and we'll start unrolling it the same way we rolled it up. We're just going to grab our sides that we flipped up. We are going to flip them back down, and then we're going to grab our front right away. We're going to give it a little bit of a pull here until we get our cleats. We can kind of hook our cleats where they need to go. You'll probably have to give it a second unroll so you can see where your cleats go. Tuck that around, get your front. You can adjust this a little bit after you get going. And if you have a second person, it's very easy to have them on the outside of the boat, unrolling, and you stay here. If you don't have one, that's fine. You're probably just gonna have to switch from side to side a little bit, but you're just gonna unroll it until you get to the windshield. When you get to the windshield, give it one quick tuck over your head so that you can reach it once you crawl to the other side of the windshield. From here, you should be able to reach over the windshield and grab it, and give it a couple more unrolls. Once you get back behind the seats, you can kind of see your line on where your side of your windshield is, so you can grab it, move it a little bit if you need to. Once you get this back this far, this is also a good time. If you're putting a noodle on your windshield, go ahead now, crawl under there and set it in. If you set it in beforehand, as you're unrolling this and pulling and sliding, it's going to pull your noodle off. So wait till you're about this far, and then go under and stick your noodle in if you're going to use one. We're going to pull it right to the back here, and then we'll grab our ends, and we'll just flip those over the side. And then we still have room right here. If you've got whatever, I've got my vacuum cleaner because I cleaned everything up. Whatever you have on the back of your boat, your shoes, your towel, whatever you needed, you can go ahead, jump off the boat, and pull that off. Now notice we didn't pull this around the back of the boat yet. We're going to leave this because it's going to make Velcroing this back up easy. Again, if you don't have a tower, you'll skip this portion. I like to line this up on the bottom because I like this to be straight. Then you can just slide that right up. Hop up to your fender here. You're going to straighten this out, reach over the top, tuck in that Velcro as well. I already did the other side. We are going to hook that clip up. Don't Velcro this yet. We're going to put it on the back here first. Now we're going to go pull this over the back, and then we'll take our straps here and we'll tuck them on. A lot of times people make their covers, they ratchet them on too tight, tighter than what you need to. You should be able to get your hand underneath here, obviously not this loosely, when it's on. So what I have found works best for me, now depending on how new your cover is and how tight it is, when I get the back of my clip over here, lines up with this seam on both sides, that's how tight I go with mine. Now I tighten mine up a little bit, then I go on the other side, tighten it up some more. I see that I'm not quite lined up here, so I'm going to give it a couple more ratchets. Right about there, that's good, that's how tight I like it. Close that up. I already closed up the one on the other side. You can see I can still get my hand in here, but it's pretty nice and snug. We walk around the front, we make sure, obviously do your walk around the front before you ratchet it on, but I did that off camera. Just make sure everything's lined up here, all your seams are good. Make sure you get these on top of your actual cleats and you're in good shape. That is the easiest way that I have found, especially when you're solo. Pull your cover off and have it right ready to go back on when you get back off the water. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Leave a like and leave any questions you have in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you're watching this channel for the first time and you haven't already and you want to, boom, please subscribe.